Hi, and welcome to That's So Nova. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back. Today we're going to be swooning with Swoon. We're going to be doing the free pattern, the Dakota clutch tablet cakes. We're going to be doing a little things different. Remember, with these swooning with Swoon for 2024, I'm going to take the classic pattern and just do little modifications here and there, so that way it can start making it a little bit different. So what we're going to do, we're going to keep at pretty much everything, except we're not going to be sewing at a 1/2 inch. We're going to be sewing at 1/4 of an inch, which will make the clutch a little bit bigger. Because most tablets now are a little bit bigger than 7 by 5. So this will make it at least 7.5 by 5.5. You can do 1/4 of an inch if you wish. You can do the 1/2 inch. Do whatever you feel comfortable. We are going to put a magnet. They do have one, but I'm going to do a decorative magnet and show you how I install them. And then we are going to be making this with vinyl and doing the optional things. All the optional things. So let's get started. You're going to need your magnet, which I have a decorative one. So I'm going to put that to the side. And then we're going to start with the flat piece, which is piece C. This is optional. You don't have to do it. You need to fold this in about 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to draw a 1 inch line vertical to the raw edge. So we have our 1 inch line. I'm going to grab some double-sided tape and put it right underneath that line that we just drew. Okay, we're going to take it. This could be better. Could be a really cute clutch. It could be a really cute little gaming thing where you could put like someone's gaming consoles gifts in here, or a teacher's gift, and put like gift cards and little treats. Okay. Okay. We have our front. And then we're going to take the decorative strip and we're going to center it onto the flap. I'm not doing the decorative strip to the front of the body of the bag. I didn't feel like I wanted to. My fleece is not staying down very good. I got a Joann's one and I'm not really keen on it right now. So on the front fold, we're going to place this center. So I'm going to find my centers, which is always important. I'm not too really concerned about the fleece not sticking, because you're probably like, why aren't you bugging out about that? Because we're about to sew down this accent piece, and it's going to help stick some of it down. I'm going to take some double-sided tape and just stick it in the middle. You can put beacon glue or whatever you have available. Or you can clip it. You don't need to put double-sided tape. And then I'm going to find my centers of this optional decorative flap piece. Just going to snip those little dog ear parts and line this up to the snips. And there we go. Okay, we're going to bring this over to the machine and top stitch down 1/8 of an inch. Back stitch well at the beginning and end. I'm just going to stitch across this top right here on the bottom of it and just go up the 1/8 of an inch. All right. All right. So normally what you would do is you would take your lining piece and you would take your lining piece and you would mark where the magnet is. You could still do that, but we're just going to be marking, we're going to be marking where the magnet is going to go. But we're not installing the magnet until we're finished putting the flap together. So just doing that will help tremendously on your lining piece. Then I'm going to take my front piece and I'm going to grab some clips. I'm going a little off kilter and you're like, Shanova, we're grabbing our other pieces. I know. I want to get this magnet part because just in case if you're just here for that ride, I can help you out. Again, I'm going to be sewing at a 3/8 of an inch, or you can sew at a 1/4 of an inch, a 1/2 inch, but just be consistent throughout the whole pattern. Okay. And from here, you're going to want, if you have pinking shears, this is like the prime time to use it. If you don't, it's fine. You can do snips. You can do pretty much anything that your heart desires. You can, I'm just going to trim it down to 1/8 of an inch. Do not cut into your seam, or you're going to have to go back around again 1/8 above the inch that you snipped into around the whole thing. We're going to finger press this. You can take a folding tool, a bone tool, whatever you have available to help make those corners poke out a little bit better. And I'm just going to stick a clip over to the areas that are already trying to roll a little bit. It's perfectly natural for them to try to roll. All right, and we're going to top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch. Remember that we're trying to see just the exterior and trying to make sure that that interior part is nice and tucked where it's supposed to be. Okay, now let's go work on this. So what I like to do is I like to grab my magnet. I'm going to need to have the male portion of the magnet, so I'm going to put that aside, up right over here. And then I like to unscrew the screws. Now, here's the thing about these. Sometimes they don't want to unscrew. They'll get stuck. So what I've learned is that most of these times the distributor of these ships these from overseas, and I think the salt water or the humidity can make the nuts and the screws a little tight. So what I like to do, it's unconventional, but I am Shanova. I like to smack it down. screws first on down. And then when I do that, it seems like the screws loosen up a little bit and I don't have just as much as problem as I originally do. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Just smack it a couple times if it doesn't. And it's okay, because trust me, we all been there. Like this one is a little wonky, so I'm going to smack it and then it unscrews a little bit easier. I just think it's like the rust from the sea air, the water, the salt in there. It can just make it a little rusty. So now I'm going to use the back side as a template, so that way I know where I need to put my screws. So I'm going to grab a pin, and I know I need to punch a hole here and here. From there, I get my hole puncher, which I thought I had. Let me grab it real quick. Another one. Always have a couple of hole punchers around because apparently, if you're like me, you're always missing them. If not, let's see, I can punch it like this. Let's see, punch a hole. Oops. I just had my hole puncher. Where did you go? Okay, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go punch a hole with my machine because apparently, I don't know where I placed my hole puncher. Okay, here we go. I have a drill bit that I use to punch holes. It's a cool little mechanism, and it punches nice clean holes. It's just, it's on my table and it's too big for the sewing table. Okay, punch those holes. And what I do is I then make sure that the holes are nice and cleaned out. And I sometimes grab like a needle nose plier and I just kind of give it a nice twist to make sure all the fabric's out of the way. If you're using cotton, use fray check in this area. I'm going to grab the magnet and kind of get the holes that we made in here. You might need to make the hole a little bit bigger. And if you do, it's okay. Just take your time, do it little by little. Okay. If you have longer nails, I noticed the needle nose plier is kind of everything. Okay, then I'm going to take my part that we use as a as we use as to find our place marks. I'm going to now open up the prongs so that these can lay flat. And then I'm going to place this on top. Get one screw. And I'm going to slightly tighten it, not tighten it all the way. I want to put the other one on first. Now I'm going to tighten both of them. And we have our gorgeous magnet. Didn't that elevate it? I feel like it elevated it right away. All right. So we have that done. So let's get down to the next part. We are going to take our handle, which is in the cutting directions, and I put, for my stabilizer, fleece. And we're going to fold this in half on itself, and we're going to make a strap. So I'm going to get some double-sided tape, because we all know that's my favorite. When I'm filming, because if I was to do beacon, I would have to wait for it to get a little bit tacky and get ready for it, and it will just be like dead air for 15 minutes. Let's see. But I do use it a lot when I am not filming. All right, and then we're going to sew down this strap 1/8 of an inch on both sides. Take your time. I have a rethread this real quick. Okay, and then we're going to do it down on the other side. Okay, and we're going to want to trim those excess threads. And we're going to put these on the back. This is on the back piece, on the body piece. So we're going to grab this and we're going to measure 1 inch down. I'm just going to use a chalk mark from the top. And we're going to sew in 1.5 inches, a 1.5 inch box. So I'm just going to draw a white chalk mark. All right. Get double-sided tape. I'm going to put the first one down. We're going to go right underneath the 1 inch mark. And we're going to bring this over to the machine and sew a box. So you're going to go up to 1.5 inches, go across, and then go back down. Just back stitch before and after. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to pull this little paper tab off. And we're going to put it directly underneath the 1 inch mark that we made. And we're going to go 1.5 inches up. Okay. All right, we're going to grab our center piece, our front piece, and we're going to put the magnet. I'm also going to put this fun. These are cute little name tags or tags that you could put on that are cotton. This one says upside down, made in this upside down. So I'm going to put this a little bit down, and I am going to, I want this to be shown really well. So I'm going to grab my little, because I'm doing 3/8 of an inch. So I want to make sure that my tags are caught in the seam allowance, but also exposed so you can see. And this is a cute little thing I got in one of the sewing blur box. I believe it's from Carolina Stitches. And it just shows, it has like 5/8, 1/2, 3/8, and 1/4, and where your tag should be. So that way you can line them up to make sure that it peeks out just right. And remember to hold your threads, because I sure didn't. Okay, and then I'm going to grab a pen and I'm going to mark where the female magnet part needs to go. Okay, I'm going to use the washer as my, I cannot talk today, to know where I need to mark to cut my slits. My template. That was the word I was searching for. I'm going to place the female part in here. And I'm going to just put a piece of tape over the magnet so that way it doesn't rub against the materials and wear it down faster. That's nice. All right. We already put the flap together. We are going to take our fronts and we're going to fold them over on those pocket parts that we folded over. And again, consistent. The pattern says a 1/2 inch, but I've been sewing with 3/8 of an inch. So that's what I'm going to sew for these. I mean, the seam allowance is 1/4 of an inch. I apologize. For the darts. And just putting the darts together, making sure they line up really nice. And then sew at 1/4 of an inch. All right. Trim those threads. And we're going to sew the darts in our lining too. All right, we're going to want to sew these pieces together. So we're going to want to clip the main body pieces to the main body to the front. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it where the dart is so you can see. You're just going to fold it over where the dart is. Just place that dart, you know, everything should be lining up pretty nice. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make a perfect box. You want to go down 3/8 of an inch. For me, I'm going 3/8 of an inch. You can go a 1/2 inch, whatever is easier for you, and then do it on this side too. I like to kind of, when I get to that corner, I like to kind of spread the bulk so it's nice and neat. You also can like mark your areas where you need to pivot at. So I'm not a good eyeballer. So what I'll do is I'll have where 3/8 of an inch is, begins and ends on something, so that way I don't lose track. All right, let's go. And remember, you're going to have a little bit of bulk. You might need to get a hump jumper when you get to the place where you made the band that we just did. So right when I get to the 3/8, I'm going to stop, pivot, turn it over, and sew down 3/8 of an inch. Okay, and then we're going to trim down our seam allowance to 1/8 of an inch. I need to go back and sew this part that just came undone. Sometimes that happens when I pin. I don't pin right. It's okay. It happens to us all. And I just will go back over it. Just that one seam. Okay, and then now we're going to trim down to 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and we're going to just trim this one right side out. Remember, the handle goes on the back side, not the front. Just take your time. Nice. And then I'm going to get the center mark on here. I'm going to go over. I didn't get quite the top good enough here. I'm just going to back stitch over that. Sometimes when you don't back stitch at the beginning and the end, you're like, the seam on the top will open up a little bit, and I hate when that happens. So I'm going to find the center, do a little snip, and then I'm going to get our front flap, and we have a snip on it already, so I'm just going to line up and clip. And then we're just going to base this on. I'm going to base this on using a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. right. Moving those little threads. You see, like, you can see how it's going to turn out. This is going to be super duper cute. Oh, look at how adorable that is. Love it. I'm going to get this part. Again, I needed to go over just this area because I didn't close okay, so if you don't backstitch at the beginning and end of each stitch, this part opens up and it could just throw off your whole entire lining area. All right. I mean, how it lays. And then when you put it together, this is really cute. So, like, on the back side, you have this. All right, so let's get this lining together. So on the lining, what I'm going to do to make sure that it's nice and taut is I'm going to, again, I'm going to draw a 1/2 inch box because we're going to go 3/8 inch, about an inch down on the top and the bottom, and then go to a 1/2 inch so that way the lining can be nice and like it's just nice and seamlessly tucked in. So I'm going to clip. So we're going to like just go down just a little bit. Just matching the pieces, and you're kind of bowing in a little bit. Okay. All right. So we're going to start at 3/8 of an inch. Go down 3/8 of an inch, probably about an inch back stitch, and then we're going to go to a 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch all the way down. Half inch across. And we're going to leave an opening at the bottom. You want to have like a 3 to 6 inch opening. Depends on like you. Like if you're a person that needs a bigger berthing, which I completely understand because sometimes I definitely need a bigger berthing. So I did a smaller hole, because I feel like this fabric that I'm working with is really thin. If it was really thick, like all vinyl, I would probably do like a 6 inch opening. So we're still at a 1/2 inch. We're about to like grade it to a 3 1/8, and then we're going to trim it down, except the area that we're about to, that will be our birthing hole. We're just going to cut those strings. See, there's my hole. I'm just leaving that area nice and open. All right. So we're going to do right sides with right sides. I'm going to slide this in. It's going to be a little bit of a stiffer fit because it's a smaller seam allowance. I mean, a bigger seam allowance in there. So just bear with it. Take your time. And we're going to start matching up the deep V. this excess. All right, and let's start sewing this at 3/8 of an inch all the way around. It's going to be a little tricky when we get to this section. You can start with this section if you want, and if it's easier for you, because sometimes it is easier for me to do this, I will move this section out of the way and draw my seam allowance and kind of overdraw it past the center line. So I'm doing 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to draw a 3-inch box, a 3-inch line, so that way I can get the best kind of V I could possibly get. See, I'm doing a line over, and then I'm going to there we go. See, and we're going to start here, and it'll be easier to sew. So we're drawing at 3/8 of an inch, back stitch, 1 or 2 stitches, and I'm just going to use the lines that I drew as my markings to follow. At this line, I'm going to stop, pivot, and go to do the regular 3/8 of an inch. And I'm going to smush my bag. It's going to be fine. Get squishy with it. Whenever I go over any seam, I like to back stitch. Okay, trim, and then I'm going to grab my pinking shears and my regular scissors. I'm going to snip all the way down to the 3/8 of an inch to make sure that V is nice and clean. And then I'm just going to pink down . On straight parts, you can just cut it down too if you wish. You don't have to pink it. I just usually, I don't know, I like pinking sometimes. I feel like it gives it a cleaner look, but that's just my personal preference. Alright, get these excess, and then we're going to birth it through the hole. Take your time so you don't accidentally pull on stitches. You can try by grabbing maybe the flap first, and everything will come with it. That was my puppy that was barking. He's probably asleep barking. He does that a lot. Okay. I'm poking out the corners, and then what I'm going to do is before I put this lining back in, I'm going to close it off. I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to just make it nice and taut. And then put a couple clips, and then we're going to sew it down at 1/8 of an inch. Go ahead and pull this part out. I'm just using my stiletto real quick. There we go. I try to pull out every corner before I close it up. And I'm just going to roll out in my deep V. And see how it just kind of folds in on itself. You could just grab a stiletto or an awl and kind of just very gently pull it out. You can actually poke it out prior to closing out the bag too, if that's easier. I just like to make things difficult for myself. It's a nice V though. All right. So what I like to do is I like to top stitch in two areas. I like to top stitch on the back by itself and then from the side to the side. Now, I'm going to do something that you probably haven't seen. This is another tip. This area is going to be bulky. So again, my needle nose pliers, I'm going to, if your fabric is very sensitive, put a piece of cloth over it. But I like to just press it down a little bit. Not too hard where I'm like trying to rip or like crimp it. I'm just trying to help release some of the bulk. All right, so we're going to sew this first part from here to here, and then we'll do the other part. So I'm going to make sure that I'm going to lay this flat and kind of tuck this out of the way at the same time. I'm going to start from one seam and do 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to back stitch 2 stitches and I'm going to sew across. I'm going to make sure that this doesn't go underneath the other opposite side. Now, if you're okay with it, you can continue and just feed the bag going like this. This is what I'm going to do. Or you could take it off and turn it inside out and top stitch the other half. I'm going for this agreement because I know a lot of people, if you have a really good needle down position, you can do this. You're going to just tug and pull on it so that way it's nice and straight. And you're going to pivot for that V. Pivot again. I actually really like the deep V on this bag. I think it's super cool and unique. Alright, and I back stitch, and I'm going to trim all the little threads. Poke out all the corners. close the flap. And we are done, my friends. We just made the Dakota. And again, this is a perfect tablet, or I think a Nintendo Switch would be really cool in here. Let's see. My Samsung tablet fits in here. Cool. Or this could be a really nice date night bag. You just have your hand like on it, being all dainty. Again, or a really cool gift to give to someone. Put their like favorite video games or teas or cake, little cookie cake and wrappers, of course. And you can actually add a zipper pocket inside if you wish too. There's enough room where you can have a tablet and something to hold your cords. But we're all done. And it's all finished. And it's super cute. We did it with vinyl. And we had some fun. The vinyl that I am using today is not probably going to be in the description because it's a pre-order, meaning that it opens up February, I believe 16th of 2024, and it closes at the end of February 2024. So if you're watching it after and you try to get it, this is from Thumbs and Thimbles. They don't have the fabric available all year round, so I'm not going to list it, but the faux leather I got from fabric.com, the plain one. And I think this could be done in cork, any kind of material, cotton, whatever you have available. And I think it's a great little bag to have. So this is it. So if you have any more questions, or you want to cast your vote, or your, sound off on what Swoon bag you want to see next, please leave a comment down below. If you're like, Shnova, I've been dying to make this bag, but I didn't know how. And I want to support you. I do have a Ko-fi, and that information will be in the description below. A link to where you can get this free pattern will be down below as well. Until I talk to you again, I hope everyone has a wonderful day and happy sewing. Bye.